Hi everybody, Jake here for FMSCOUT, and in today's episode of Wonderkid to Superstar, we're going to be focusing on a Wonderkid that starts with some of the best starting attributes I've seen on a player of his age, and it's not just that, he actually goes on in the simulation to turn into one of the best creative midfielders in world football. And because of the attributes that he does start with, he has a very good chance of reaching that high level in most of your guys' saves, so he's definitely one to keep an eye on. Let's roll the intro and get right into it. Hi everybody and welcome back to another episode of Wonderkid to Superstar, the series where we take a Wonderkid in FM22, put them to the higher end of their potential range and see what they can do in your guys' saves. And today's player, his attributes are just so good. He's one of the best creative midfielders I think I've seen at full growth. I certainly think he's one of the best Wonderkids in this iteration of Football Manager, but before we get into the video and looking at all that good stuff, I just want to ask you guys, if you could be absolute legends, hit that like button, make it turn blue. I'd very much appreciate it, and so would everyone on the channel. Comment down below your rating for this player out of 10 and let us know who you want to see next, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And then once you've done all that, let's get right into the video. Okay, so for once in these videos, we don't have to transfer this Wonderkid to a different club. He starts off at a club of a very high level, and that is of course Real Madrid, who we are right here today, and you can find him as usually their hottest prospect. It's the 17-year-old Japanese national Takuhiro Nakai. I really like this player, and there's a number of reasons why, but I think you guys can probably all see it straight from the off. This player has insane technicals and some very nice mental attributes to help him along in his growth. Yes, he's probably lacking in the physical areas and some of his other mental attributes, but some of the key attributes to being a top tier playmaker, this guy has them all already. 15 passing, 16 technique, 16 dribbling. He needs a bit of work in his vision, but some good teamwork and work rate in there as well. He's got flair, and in this simulation, he's got plenty of determination too. He's already top tier in some certain attributes, like if you had a 30-year-old prime midfielder, you wouldn't bat an eyelid if he had 15 passing, 16 technique, 16 dribbling. You'd class them as amazing attributes, and the fact that this is on a 17-year-old player who has plenty of room to grow goes to show just how far this guy can go in your save. In terms of his player traits, he's got some very good ones. He likes to try killer balls often, and that's going to make him a very good playmaker and get him plenty of assists if you use him in that role. But I opted to use him in a Metzala role today. I could have used any of them really, but I just fancied using that role because it's one that I like to use fairly regularly in my saves, and we don't really need to show too much more about him because, like I say, he's already at Real Madrid. But if I just show you the training we're going to be doing, I'm putting him on final third, double intensity to get that composure and decision making up. Then over time I'll probably start working on his vision and likely his shooting as he gets into his older years. And that way we can try and round him out as a player, and instead of just being a pure creative force, he'll hopefully grab us some goals too. He's not being mentored because I think he's already got a good personality and determination in this save. And then in terms of a tactic we're using the 4-3-3 Gegenpress preset, put to positive mentality, and I've moved some player roles around, and I'm forcing Nakai to play as many games as possible while holidaying in that Metzala role on the attack duty, so hopefully he can get forward a fair bit and contribute to the attack. The video is an 11-year simulation, so I'm going to show you him after 3 years, and then I'll show you him right at the end when he's in his prime in like his 28s, 29s, and you can see the kind of player he turns into. But he's definitely very special. So without further ado, let's simulate a few years and see how Nakai is getting on in our team. Okay everybody, here we are, 2024, 3 years have passed, so let's check out how he's been doing and how he's been developing in the team. And here you go guys, this is the kind of player that Nakai is after a few years as he's reaching his 20s, but to let you guys know his potential range, I'll flash it up in the bottom left corner now. So if he's on the lower end of that potential, you're getting a very good player. If it's on the high end, you're getting one of the best players in world football. But to anyone who is interested, the player you're looking at here is still a mile off being on the lower end of that potential range, so he's still got loads of room to grow, even if he was at the worst possible potential rating in your guys' saves. And just look at him, he has become such a great player already, and the fact that this is like the minimum you'll get in your save as long as you develop him to his potential, of course, I think it goes to show how good this guy is. As he's developed through his teenage years, we can see that his physicals have definitely gone up and improved, which is something we were looking for because he was lacking in many of the physical areas, so it's a good job some of them have gone up, and he's basically quite quick, quite agile, and he's naturally fit, which goes along well with his work rate. Some of his other mental attributes have improved too, but particularly we can see the final third training has worked very well on composure and decision making, and then his vision as well has begun to increase, and at a level of 13 he's getting to the kind of level he needs to be to create as many chances as possible for his teammates, which we want him to do because his technicals are absolutely flawless. This guy has some of the best technicals I've seen in Football Manager in terms of midfielder at 20 years of age. dribbling, first touch, passing, technique, all at an extremely good level. Considering we are using him as a Metzala in that attack role, the highlighted attributes are the ones that we need for this position, and he is pretty much mastering everything that he needs to play well in this area of the pitch, and I think he's turning into a very nice player. Before we go and have a look how he's performed in game, we can see that his value has increased dramatically, which is great, because if you were to make an initial investment of 10-15 million pounds into this player, bear in mind he isn't too keen to leave straight away, so you might have to scout him for a year or two to see how he is in your save and then approach to buy him. But if you can get him for anywhere under 20 million, it's still a very good investment, because he's worth way more than that now. And as I mentioned, he's nowhere near full growth yet, like nowhere near. So he's looking very good already. Well, we can see for whatever reason, when I was holidaying, the assistant manager decided he wasn't going to use this guy at all in the first year. So he didn't develop too much in terms of match performance, but I suppose he was still getting some player development training. I don't know what it was. It might have been a registration issue or something along them lines, but he didn't play in them circumstances in the first year. But even when he did okay. The next season he played 23 times, so just above half of the games in the league season. Didn't play too well overall in terms of average match rating and goals and assists, but you can forgive him for a player of such a young age. But now that he's started to feel his potential a little bit and get into the first team more, we can see his most recent season was a very good one. 38 appearances, 16 goals, 7 assists and a 7.18 average match rating. Takuhiro is definitely developing very well, and we can see that he's got plenty of potential to fulfill here. So with that being said, let's simulate how he looks in his prime at maximum growth to see what kind of player you guys could get in your saves if you signed him. Okay guys, here we are 11 or 12 years in the future in 2032, and as we can see, Takuhiro has been one of the best players for Real Madrid this year, as you would start to expect now as he gets into his prime years of his footballing career. But before we do go and have a look at the kind of player he's turned into, I'd like to let you guys know I do have my own channel linked in the description if you want to check it out and see the Wolfsburg save we've got going on over there. We've had quite a few comments of people saying they've came over from FMSCOUT and have enjoyed the channel, so if you want to be one of them and see what you think of it, that'll be awesome. We're heading for 6,000 subscribers over there, so any help towards that would be great. But the thing you've all been waiting for, let's see what Takuhiro looks like in 2032, and we can see he is unreal in that midfield position. He's got bright green attributes all over the pitch and has now become one of the best players at the club at 28 years old. Interestingly, before we get into all that though, you will see that he's now Spanish. That was because I was doing my simulation on my laptop where I don't have the database fixes and stuff, so Japan's national team didn't actually exist, I don't think, and he hasn't appeared from at any point, meaning that he could eventually play for the Spanish national team, where he's became very much a regular in their side on £400,000 a week now at Real Madrid. Certainly one of their Galactico players. He is looking unreal. I mean, physically was his weakest area before, and now it's a very good area with great agility, great acceleration, and the other attributes don't lack too much either. One thing I didn't notice is how strong he is in the midfield as well, so he definitely lends himself to being near enough a complete midfielder now. Obviously the defensive side of his game is going to lack a little bit, but we haven't been focusing on that. If you wanted to improve that, of course you could, but I just wanted to use him and his special attributes that he started with to create this ultimate attacking force, and we can see we've definitely done that with 20 anticipation, 20 decision making, 19 composure, 16 flair, 17 determination, off the ball, vision at an amazing level now, work rate, teamwork, positioning, everything is so good in this guy. And then we get to his technicals and it's almost even better. Dribbling, first touch, passing technique, all at an amazing level. And now because of our focus on shooting, we can see his finishing, his free kicks and his long shots have gone through the roof as well. So he's definitely going to be a goal scorer. And yeah, Takuhiro, what a player he has become. Have you seen too many players with better attributes than him? I would very much doubt it, but can he back it up with performances on the pitch? Now, as we are looking at his numbers here, we should bear in mind that usually in these Wonderkid to Superstar episodes, we do wingers, strikers, and therefore they can get 500, 1,000 goals over the course of their career, and it looks great. You're not going to get the same output from a midfielder most of the time, particularly a central midfielder whose primary output is going to be assists, but Takuhiro does a very good job of doing both for his team, both scoring and getting assists across all competitions. We're looking at 20 goal contributions minimum a season from that midfield position in the league. Most of the time it's a bit more than that, and average match ratings are also doing very well, always consistently above that 7 mark, sometimes reaching 7.3s as he is in his prime of his career in his most recent seasons, and always contributing on the pitch. And I think he has turned into one of the best midfielders you will see, particularly attribute wise. You could definitely get better performances out of him if you used a certain tactic or moved him forward a little bit more, or maybe made him more of a creator. I focused on the Metzala role here. You can do whatever you want with this guy because he starts off as such a good player. In terms of awards, it doesn't seem like he's won too many Ballon d'Ors or anything like that, as you probably wouldn't if you're not hitting numbers in Football Manager. That tends to be the way that Football Manager sees it. If you score loads, if you assist loads, then you've got a chance. But in terms of being one of the best players in La Liga, that is certainly something he's been doing for a long time. And I imagine if there was an award for best looking attributes on a midfielder, he would win it all the time. Takuhiro is a great player. I'm going to give him a 9 out of 10 purely because he is going to cost a fair bit playing for Real Madrid straight away. He's not going to want to leave, but in terms of the player that you get, I don't think there's many better in this year's game. So I'm a big fan of him. Let me know if you've checked him out or tried him down below. Like the video if you did enjoy it, and hopefully I'll see you next time, guys. Goodbye.